What do you do when a husband puts video games over his wife and children? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, my boyfriend asked for my hand in marriage the day after his brother got engaged. My boyfriend, 26-year-old male, and I, 29-year-old female, have been together for 8 years. The other night we found out that his brother and his girlfriend just got engaged. They've been together for 5 years. Although truly happy for them, my heart broke for our relationships. I have tried in the past to get more clear information as to what our time looks like to move forward, but simply received the "I'm not ready for marriage yet" response. I have tried to be patient. He started to drop hints of a proposal back in December after my brother proposed to his girlfriend. Only together for a year. I have tried my hardest to keep my pain and sadness from him because I didn't want it to be a factor in his decision. He knows how I felt because I've told him in years past that I was ready for a proposal and to move forward. However, this time it hit me really hard. I've been in tears since we found out. The next day he spent a few hours at his mom's. Later, when I was on my afternoon walk, he caught up to me. He told me that he had a really good conversation with his mom, and then went to my parents' house and asked my dad for my hand in marriage, and even has a ring. I can't help but to feel like it's a last-ditch effort to pick up the pieces of my broken heart. He says that it's just bad timing and that he had the intention of proposing this year already. He even says he regrets not proposing at a vacation we took over a year ago. I asked him if, independently from his brother's engagement, would he had still gone and asked for my hand in marriage that day. He said that it was in response to his conversation with his mom, but the conversation they had was because he knew how upset I was in regards to this whole thing. Now I feel so incredibly hurt. I love him so much and don't want to break up with him, but feel like I have to. Now I know there's a proposal coming, but I feel like if I accept it, I'm accepting something that is meant to fix a broken heart, instead of celebrating a moment of growth and true happiness. I don't know what to do now. I feel like I'm at a loss. Yeah, I mean, I don't really buy his whole, "Well, I regret not asking you a year before." It just sounds kind of like a cop-out excuse. To me, it just sounds like he's not really all in on actually committing to this. I mean, was it even necessarily him talking to his mom about it? Or was it his mom bringing it up to him and asking him when he's gonna finally just get around to it? Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy tricky relationship topics, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, I want to remove my roommate from my gym membership after being wrongfully blamed. I, 26-year-old female, have 2 roommates, Anna, 25-year-old female, and Bo, 21-year-old male. We all met through work, although Anna now works elsewhere. It's Bo's 21st birthday. The plan is to get dinner at 6 p.m. with the 3 of us, plus Bo's girlfriend and some of his other friends, then meet up with coworkers at the bar next door at 7 p.m. Bo and his girlfriend are both already at our house, so they decide to leave early to give Anna and I more time to get ready. Anna and I decide to ride together also. I'm trying to help Anna pick her outfit, as well as my own. She eventually finishes and notifies me she's ready to leave whenever I am. I tell her that I'm wrapping up my lipstick, and finish about 5 minutes later. We finally leave, but traffic is awful. She tells me that Bo texts her that they're going to put in their order, so I suggest her to text him her order so it can be ready by the time we get there. She says no, because she hasn't looked at the menu. She says she hasn't eaten all day and wanted to eat there because she's never been before, basically insinuating that she won't get to anymore, then blames me and says, "I told you we should have left sooner." I look at her with shock on my face and say, "Are you really blaming this only on me?" And then tell her, "I could have done my makeup in the car if it was really a problem." To which she says, "Well, I didn't know that." I try to make a conversation to change the subject and lighten the mood, but she won't let it go. I get angry and decide to stop talking completely. The rest of the car ride is pure silence. We finally make it to the restaurant and sit down at 6:40. She orders and eats and everyone finishes. We make it to the bar at 7:15. All of the coworkers that Bo invited are dudes. Anna knows them from previously working there, but still seemed like the odd one out with being a bit shy, as well as not working there anymore. Her and I are also the only girls there at this point. Bo's girlfriend couldn't make it, so she follows me around literally everywhere and won't sit next or talk to anyone else. I continue to avoid her as I don't want to talk to her, to which she finally tries to talk to other people. Later, Anna and some of the others are gathered at a vending machine. She's browsing and I show interest to my coworker in buying something too. Anna freaks out and tells me, "Freak off, OP." Anna loves to work out. She'd been dying to go to a specific gym, but a multi-year contract is required. However, I found an alternative through my health insurance, so I added her and she's been paying me for the fee since last year. It's been 2 weeks since that night we stopped talking, and we've only spoken once, when she said, "Hey," after I came home from work one day. Other than that, not once has she tried to talk to me about it. I feel I've done no wrong here, and I don't want to let her continue to benefit from me if she has no problem with treating me the way she has. So I ask, would I be wrong for me to remove my roommate from my gym membership for being wrongfully blamed? I mean, ultimately, it's OP's gym membership. They can do really whatever they want with it, and if they're feeling like they're getting slighted here, are they really the jerk for controlling their gym membership the way they want to? Even if some people might think it's petty, is it still putting them in the wrong? I don't think so. I mean, you could try to approach this with some more blatant communication. You know, just say out loud what's frustrating you and what's going on, and maybe you can work through it. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to remove them from the gym membership, it's your gym membership. Our next story is, I, female 34, feel my husband, male 35, wants to be single but won't admit to it. I feel my husband, together for 8 years, married for 4, wants to be single. When I talk to him about it, he says he doesn't and he loves being married to me, but he is always flirting with girls, and I'm pretty sure the only reason why I haven't been cheated on is due to lack of opportunity. He is very attractive and gets lots of attention, but it's still kind of a recent thing. When he was younger, he was very thin and didn't get a lot of attention, I guess. And I feel he didn't get to live that part of his life and explore all this attention, and he's now frustrated, but he won't admit to it. I also struggle with the fact that I'm clearly not his type. If you talk to him about it, he'll say I am, but it's pretty clear that when you see the girls he flirts with and all the Insta models he follows, they all have really big boobs and a more like basic straight girl appearance, while I'm very thin and look a bit more alternative. Not that I'm not what society would still consider attractive, but definitely not his type. I, on the other hand, really love him and love being in a committed relationship, and I'm pretty sure I would find single life heck. But at the same time, my self-esteem is getting a really big hit from all of this, but as long as he says he loves being married to me, I can't get the courage to leave. How do I get him to admit to that so I can move on? I mean, nothing great is probably going to happen for OP unless they're willing to face their fears. He's openly flirting and doing things with other people that most people in a relationship would not be okay with. OP's afraid that they want to cheat, but they haven't even talked about the subject? Beyond the fact that this is already a boundary crossed that most people would assume is a boundary solely because that's a staple of being in a committed relationship, OP needs to express how they're feeling and the boundaries that they have. I guess what's the breaking point, because there's people-pleasing behavior going on here. Does he have to go and confirmed cheat before it's finally brought up and boundaries are tried to be set? This next story is, boyfriend is judging me for wanting to get plastic surgery to remove loose skin instead of just working out. I, 20-year-old female, lost over 80 pounds in less than 6 months last year. Not healthy at all, I know. Because of my poor diet, along with little to no weightlifting and only strict cardio, I was left with loose skin on my thighs, arms, stomach, and chin. Before I met my boyfriend, I got chin vaser liposuction to tighten and slim the skin underneath my chin. I've been contemplating skin removal surgery on my arms and possibly some sort of skin tightening procedure on my stomach. I don't care too much about my thighs because I don't think it's that bad, just cellulite. My surgeon said I would be a good candidate for these procedures since I had a drastic weight loss. My boyfriend, 24, thinks that the gym can fix my problems and give me my dream body. He believes cosmetic and plastic surgery is wrong. I believe I lost so much weight in a very unhealthy way, and because of that, my skin has been really affected. I'm desperately trying to find ways to fix the issue, and lifting weights isn't going to magically remove my skin or shrink it back when it's this bad. I also believe I put in the work to lose the weight, and now I should be able to splurge on myself and get this extra skin removed, and to tighten my skin if I really want to. It's my body. I've been trying to explain to him that lifting weights isn't going to just remove the saggy skin hanging from my stomach and arms. He believes it will. My boyfriend lost 40 pounds in a year with a good diet and workout regimen. He isn't left with saggy skin like I am. I can't even bring up this topic without it turning into an argument. So yeah, this guy is very clearly mistaken. If you're the kind of person who built up your weight over a long period of time, you probably have a likelier chance that losing the weight Also at a slow rate of time, the skin will still visually for the most part look pretty good. But there is a very real point in which the skin can only tighten up so much. If you're somebody who is just big enough, or you lost a lot of weight rapidly, you're going to have loose leftover skin. This isn't even a topic that is very hard to research. No amount of bicep curls is going to tighten your skin unless you start turning into Hulk Hogan. Our next story is, my 19-year-old female, grandpa, 87-year-old male, might have uncovered a huge family secret. What now? My grandpa, 86-year-old male, and I, 19-year-old female, are very close, and he's been seeming down lately. I asked what was up, and he confessed that he's worried he's not my dad's real father. I was shocked by this, but after he explained the situation, I think it might have some merit, so I wanted to know what to do. My grandpa and my grandma were married since they were in their 20s. And as far as I know, their marriage was very happy. She unfortunately passed away a few years ago. Before she passed away, her mind wasn't the best, and she said some uncharacteristic and confusing things. My grandpa told me that at one point she was talking to him and said something like, "I want to talk to our son's real father, not you." Like I said, she wasn't in her right mind, but what happened afterwards made my grandpa worried. Apparently, my parents overheard what my grandma said and took it really seriously, which my grandpa thought was weird. My grandpa claimed they started asking our relatives for more information behind his back and trying to find old documents. He said he found this out through my relatives. He also mentioned that my dad took him to the doctor to get a blood test for a vague reason, and he thinks this was a paternity test. I just started college this year, so I haven't been talking to my family a ton lately, and I definitely haven't heard anything about this. I remember vaguely them mentioning that my grandma had an affair before, but I thought that was long after my dad was born. I've never heard about any other big family secrets. The reason my grandpa waited so long to bring this up to me is that he recently found out that my dad got in contact with his real father a few months ago. He apparently found this out through some third party who he trusts. He feels upset, and since he's pretty old, he's worried the stress is going to kill him. I have no idea what to do. Right now, I'm just comforting him and reassuring him, but he said he wants to know the truth. My grandpa wouldn't lie to me, but I'm not sure if he's misunderstanding the situation. I can't bring this up directly to my parents because my grandpa told me not to talk to them about it. I'm an only child, so I have no one else to ask for help. My grandpa said that he just wants to know the truth before he dies. Should I get a DNA test with him? And if I do, should I tell him the truth even if we're not related? How would I break it to him, and would I let my parents know beforehand? I'm in college in the next state over, so I can drive to get the test to my grandpa. I don't think he'd know how to do it. So doing the actual tests is fine, but my parents have access to my bank info and his bank info, so they'd see we bought tests. Is there any way to get these without it showing up suspiciously in my bank account? I want my grandpa to know the truth, but I'm scared about causing turmoil in my family and breaking his heart if it turns out we're not related. I love my grandpa and I don't care if we're related, I just want him to be at peace. Thank you so much. I think if he's that concerned about it and he wants it done and wants to know, it's worthwhile to try to have it done just to see and find out. I'm not sure of the best way to pay for it privately considering they have access to your bank accounts, but if OP does go through with it, I wish them the best regardless of what the turnout is for their family. This next story is, my dad, 48-year-old male, wants me, 18-year-old female, to take care of his stuff while he's in jail. How do I tell them that I don't want to do this anymore and I am leaving? Hey, I know this is a weird situation and I'm not sure what to do. My dad got into trouble. I don't know all the details, but I understand he was stealing a bunch of money from his clients. He was a lawyer, but had to give up his license when it all broke open. I was living with him at the time. I could talk a lot about our relationship, but the short version is that our relationship is pretty strained, and I'm not very surprised he was doing something shady. A little while ago, after he got arrested, but before he went into jail, he sat down with me and told me he was expecting to have to go to jail for about 2 years. He told me that while he's gone, he needs me to stay here and take care of the house and stuff. I told him that I was planning on moving out after I graduate high school in May, but he asked me to stay for a couple of extra years because he really needs someone to take care of the house and the car while he's gone. He promised I can leave when he gets out and takes his house back, and he promised he would pay me for it after he gets released. In the end, he got 40 months, so a little over 3 years. And he is in a federal prison, so my understanding is he has to stay in for almost the whole sentence before he can get an early release or parole. It's been a few weeks since he went in, and I've been getting angrier and angrier at the situation. I told him I would take care of all his crap because I didn't know what else to do when he had me on the spot. But I don't think I want to. It upsets me that he wants me to stay in this house and this town for 3 extra years, all because he committed a crime. So anyway, I decided I am leaving. One of my friends' families told me the other day that I can stay with them for the rest of the school year and the summer after. I'm getting all of my stuff out of my dad's house, and I'm planning on leaving for the last time on Friday. And after I graduate, I plan on leaving town and not coming back. But I haven't told my dad yet. I'm angry at him, and we didn't get along real well even before he went to jail, but I do have some sympathy. I don't know what's going to happen to his house, or his car, or all of his stuff inside when I leave. And I'm also kind of over it all and don't really care anymore. I don't want to make his life any worse than it already is, but I think it was really unfair for him to ask me to do that for him. I know I need to tell him. I'd prefer to do it in person, but I don't know what the rules are on visiting someone in prison, and I don't know if I even can. So it may have to be whenever he calls again. How do I tell him that I'm leaving and I'm not going to take care of his stuff? The whole situation is stressing me all out and I just can't deal with it anymore. I don't want to take care of a house all by myself or a car that isn't mine. I don't even know how. Like, I know property taxes are a thing and I know you have to pay them, but I don't know how much they are or how you even go about paying them. I just can't do this and I don't want to spend the rest of my teenage years trying to figure it out. How do I tell my dad that I'm leaving all his stuff and I don't really care anymore what happens to it? Ultimately, this is one big pile of not OP's responsibility. It sucks, but they committed a huge crime, something that got them 40 months. It's just not OP's responsibility, it's not OP's burden, and right at the moment when they're ready to spread their wings and move out on their own and try to live their own life, they don't need to be saddled down with all this extra responsibility. You know, people suggesting things like renting the house out or putting his stuff in storage or trying to find some kind of accommodation for this stuff. It's just not OP's responsibility in any way and not OP's burden. He's trying to steal precious time from OP's life on top of all the other things they've already stolen. This next story is, I, 40-year-old male, snooped on my wife's, 30-year-old female, of 5 years phone and found out how unhappy she is in our relationship. We met 5 years ago and got married 2 years in. We were inseparable. I knew she was the one when she never got tired of my slightly autistic and ADHD butt. She's incredible. Gorgeous, smart, funny. She's everything I've ever looked for in a partner. But I'm starting to think maybe I trapped her. We had an argument after our Valentine's dinner a few days ago, and she said some really mean things to me. Made fun of my weight gain for one. Things haven't been the same since. She gave me a very generic, "I'm sorry for last night," the next morning. But that was it. I didn't even acknowledge it. I haven't been able to make eye contact with her. I'm not interested in talking to her, and generally I've been avoiding her. Yesterday she had the day off and went to a party with friends. I wasn't invited. She never told me about it. She didn't want me there. She didn't text me or call me all day from 10 a.m. until 2 a.m. When she got dropped off without her car, she passed out on the couch. I let my emotions get the best of me and I opened the Photos app on her phone just to see how her day and night had gone. I didn't find anything out of the ordinary, and honestly it looked like she had a good time. I opened her text app and saw an exchange with her BFF where she admitted that she said some really mean crap to me the other night. Her friend responded that, "You said what you needed to say." You know, being the good friend. My wife then replied, "I really don't like who I am in this relationship." Her browser window was also open and there was a page to an article called "How to Tell If You're Unhappy in a Relationship." I treat this woman like a queen. All 5 love languages every day. Now, it's obvious to anyone reading this, I have trust issues. I am in therapy working on them. My wife knows this. I was cheated on in several previous relationships going all the way back to my first girlfriend in high school. Since then, I've had a really hard time trusting people, especially relationship partners. My wife and I spent the last 6 months in couples counseling. I stopped paying for sessions because my wife wouldn't do the homework. A few months ago, she went to a wedding and flirted and made out with one of the groomsmen while drunk, and then confessed the next morning. I know she resents me. She doesn't communicate well. She has a bit of an alcohol problem. I'm dealing with some drug and medication issues too, but I think she feels like I've caged her into this marriage, and she feels disappointed in what I have to offer. I have 2 kids from a previous marriage. They're both teens and she loves them to death. I guess need to make some changes, I guess. Or it sounds like we may be done. Any insider wisdom would be helpful. Thanks. I mean, Opie is going on and on about how unhappy she seems or all the things that she seems to have issue with. My question is OP happy? Does OP earnestly believe that things are going to turn around here? Do they even want to entertain the idea of trying to turn this thing around? I mean, from the sounds of it, I don't know if there is any fixing this. Our next story is, my 37-year-old female, intelligent husband, 44, has the intellect of a child when we watch movies, and I don't understand what's going on. My husband is a smart and amazing man who I love. He has a master's degree from a good university, speaks 4 languages fluently, and has a successful career as a higher-level manager in tech. He's well-read and enjoys academic pursuits like book clubs, Toastmasters, etc. He's traveled the world and has amazing social skills. However, when we watch a film with a plot that is graded beyond PG, it's like he has the intellect of a 10-year-old. For example, we can watch a film he knows I've never seen, where a character will have a ski mask on, be holding a gun, a bag, and rush into a bank yelling, "This is a holdup!" And he'll genuinely ask what's going on and if someone is robbing a bank. If we've watched a movie that spent most of it based on a historical fact, like, for example, Schindler's List, which he knows is based upon the Holocaust, he'll ask why the people are getting on trains and looking scared. He's most definitely not racist, but if we watch a movie with ethnic characters that have gone to great pains to be historically accurate and differentiate characters, he'll ask well into the movie which person is supposed to be MLK versus Malcolm X, even though they've been setting up that plotline for at least 30 minutes. This post isn't an indictment of him. I've just personally never encountered a person that is as intelligent and worldly as him, but turns into an idiot when we watch a film. I try to be patient, but sometimes I get frustrated or surprised when he can't process it, but would like any suggestions as to what might be going on in his mind? I've tried to gently ask or bring up why he has trouble processing basic film plot lines, but he just gets defensive and says I'm being mean for insinuating he doesn't get it, even though he clearly doesn't. This is just speculation from my own side. I know there are a lot of times where, even in school when you're listening to a lecture or a teacher's going over something, or in movies or TV shows, I have a rambling mind. I don't know if it's kind of like an ADHD kind of thing, where I'll be watching the movie and eventually a thought pops up into my mind. And I just start trailing off thinking about that thought while kind of like blankly watching. And after a bit, I have to snap back to it and realize, oh yeah, I just missed the plot. I don't know this character's name. I missed their motivation for doing whatever plot. Now that being said, if I saw somebody with a ski mask on, holding a gun and a bag, rushing into a bank yelling, "This is a holdup," I'm gonna be able to tell that this is a bank robbery. This next story is, my partner's 22-year-old male, anxiety and lack of common sense is starting to freak me, 22-year-old female, out. We've been together 3 years and are both in college, plus autistic and ADHD. I'm going to clarify here, I'm under no impression I'm flawless or have zero support needs. I don't expect him to know everything, but it really feels like he literally only thinks about whatever he's fixated on that day and ignores or panics about everything else. He won't get a driver's license or debit card. Not because he doesn't want to, but because he doesn't think about it. I have medical episodes that make me very tired and confused, and he's misconstrued that as me being mad at him more than once, preventing him from actually helping me. He doesn't know how to do most household or hygiene tasks to my bare minimum standard, and to clarify, this is stuff like changing our underwear every day. It feels even harder because I know it's not malicious. It's that between his anxiety and obliviousness, every problem is my problem. I don't think I'm enabling him. I think his logistical and organizational skills are at a 0, because when I don't intervene, the problems legitimately don't get solved. Classes are failed, food molds, trains are missed. I genuinely have never considered intelligence as important. I literally have a learning disability, but this is about life. We are a perfect personality/values match, and he's so beautiful inside and out. I don't just want to hear about how this will never work. If you or your partner was similar, what did you do? He wants to get better at household chores, but I can't emotionally handle teaching him each individual thing. I especially don't know what to do about the problem solving. Should I encourage him to go to occupational therapy in addition to anxiety therapy? How long do I wait? Yeah, I definitely think some kind of professional that's just really well versed in dealing with people who have these kinds of disabilities would really go a long way and is probably the best and safest bet over pretty much what anybody on Reddit could advise you to do personally, unless, they are an actual certified expert in that field. Our next story is husband, male 35, neglects me, female 34, and our kids for his video games. So background, we've been together 11 years, married for 5 years, he's 35 and I'm 34. We have an 11-year-old and an 8-month-old together. He is addicted to his gaming, and I knew this years ago when we were dating, but he swore up and down he would stop and hasn't. 2 incidents that killed me years ago was when one day I was staying over at his place when we were dating and he was on his computer all day, and I just walked out and went home. He didn't even notice I left and didn't even bother to call me to find out where I went. I should have ended it then, but I didn't. And the one that absolutely killed me was when I was pregnant with our 11-year-old and was having a hard pregnancy because I kept having gallbladder attacks and had a sonogram one morning and he knew about it. I called him, texted him, never answered me, so I called his mother that morning and she told me he was up till 5 a.m. playing video games. He knew this was an important appointment and prioritized his games over me. He swore that day he would change because I was beyond done, but gave him another chance. Fast forward and nothing has changed. He comes home from work every day, eats dinner, barely acknowledges me or the kids, and goes straight to the computer till 12 to 1 a.m. Tonight he was on from 11 a.m. till 3 a.m. I have honestly lost count how many times I've told him I'm tired of coming in last place to his video games, and it kills me because the look our 11-year-old gives me when he tries to get his father's attention. And tonight the baby was trying to get his attention, and yes, he's only 8 months, but babies know when they're being ignored, and his eyes were filling up with tears and he looked like he was about to cry. We would go on vacations and he would have to bring his laptop to play his games, and these were only weekend getaways and he couldn't even go 72 hours without gaming. If this was actual drugs or he was an alcoholic, I would have left him years ago and never looked back, because there are times when confronted about this that he goes from 0 to 50 in a second. Never physical, but his yelling is that bad and he never apologizes. And I have to go in the room and I just break down. But what kills me is he always asks me why I'm so depressed or what he can do to make me happy. I am running a house for 4 people without any help from him. Our 11-year-old helps me with dishes and cleaning, but my husband, nothing. The only reason I haven't left is because I would have to move back home with my parents and have nothing of my own and be depressed for failing in my marriage and failing my children. I can't talk to him when he's gaming because he claims I'm nagging him and asking him for any kind of help. Even to give me 10 minutes to myself is out of the question. I don't know what to do anymore. He refuses to talk to a counselor, claiming they do nothing. I swear, if he had a choice between losing his family and his video games, he would give up his family. That's how bad it's gotten. I am literally in tears as I'm writing this because I don't know what to do anymore. And what makes it worse is that growing up, my dad put what I did last over his football games. I was very active as a child between soccer, horseback riding. My mom worked as a waitress, so she was never able to see me in any soccer games or horse shows. Once it became the fall, I didn't matter because it was football season, and my dad would literally drop me off at the soccer field or barn and go home to watch a football game on TV, and my friends' parents or my coach would have to drive me home. And to have a husband who does the same thing is so painful. I hate video games, and for anyone to say it's not that big of a deal, unless you've been made to feel like the least important person in someone's life over a game and invisible people, you have no clue how this feels. I was gonna say I was curious if OP tried seriously putting their foot down on this, but OP mentioned they go from 0 to 50 when confronted about this. So I think ultimately it comes down to it sucks that you have to start all over and rebuild a new life, but that's probably the best option here. This guy has a terrible addiction. He doesn't seem very interested in fixing it, which is the main thing you have to do to fix something, is want to do it. Would it not make more sense and be healthier for OP both mentally and physically to cut their losses, move back with your parents for the time being, focus on getting back on your feet and focusing on your family that is actually present in the moment? It wouldn't be failing for trying to do the best thing for you and your kids. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another really tricky relationship story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.